Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for our daily Bitcoin technical analysis video, where we specifically dive into Bitcoin's price action and try and navigate the markets on an intraday basis. So, really, a short-term time frame. We do look at the larger time frames, but this is really focused on the hourly, the daily, and we're actually going to drop down into some smaller time frames to help us kind of work out what's going on with Bitcoin. We got this nice yearly open for Bitcoin that we're currently on the right side of. And what I mean by the right side of is we are north, so we're south of it, which means that we're looking for that upside momentum until we come back below it, and then we'll look for that downside. Japanese candle analysis is pretty significant, guys. So we had this is the quarterly. We had the quarterly close, and of course, we can go to the 12-month, but this chart isn't particularly big. It's a particularly brutal year last year. And then we have had our 2023 Open, which so far has been a positive one. But you got to remember, crypto has been moving on its own because it hasn't had the traditional markets to sort of use as a reference point. And we're going to go over, and we're really going to start this video off by recapping, and then we'll maybe move up to the daily and then drop down into some smaller time frames. Recapping on what we looked at yesterday. It's very hard to predict the markets every single day, which is why how do you navigate the markets? You have to have some sort of a benchmark and some sort of a compass, certainly if you're day trading, to go off of. And really, I think the best compass you can have when you're day trading and looking to trade is prior price action. And how I like to break my charts up is into 24-hour sections. I have my chart set to the New York time. It's because the American market is the largest. We know that Asian markets, and this is the importance of doing cross-market analysis, which is why it's very, very valuable to subscribe to this channel and watch all of my daily general crypto market updates that come out at 1 p.m. UK time. The reason really being for this, so that video came out, it comes out around about 7 a.m. Washington time. Where we cover the general markets, we cover the dollar, we cover everything sort of associated with markets, stock market, and so on and so forth. Remember, today is the first day of 2023 that markets are open, and I do think that there's going to be a direction that's going to be given, and ultimately the cryptocurrency market's largely just going to follow, which is why we're kind of in this stall at the moment. But we're going to start off by recapping on what we said yesterday. We were looking at this price action, we were chopping up the ranges, the 24-hour periods. And what we do is we look for swing highs and swing lows. This is a good benchmark for us to track trends. It's a good benchmark for us to track whether we're ranging, what the environment is. And it does look like potentially we may be moving into a bit of a range-bound environment. However, I do think with the opening of the US stock market, we have the US futures currently in green. We've got the UK markets green. The Asian markets are a little bit mixed, but largely green. We've got the dollar up, which of course is a negative pressure on Bitcoin. We've got gold up. So I do think the stage is set for more upside, which is what we were outlining yesterday. This is the structure that we were looking at, and we're saying, look, you're currently trending to the upside. This was a swing that we were tracking. You can see this is a swing, which is sort of a short-term directional change. Markets kind of move in a wave-like fashion. As liquidity sort of sloshes back and forth to the buy and the sell side, and liquidity is taken on either side. So we were looking at this, and we essentially look, you're probably going to get a pullback. We had mentioned ICT's fair value gap, and you have indeed had that pullback into it. Now, this is where we were in yesterday's video, and we said you're going to get a pullback into this box, and then you're likely going to see that continuation. And that actually played out pretty perfectly. So for any scalpers out there, this would not have been a bad trade, certainly if you're looking at it on a 5-minute time frame whatsoever. However, you have got, going back up to the hourly, some pretty clear and significant resistance that you're running into here. And it's significant resistance, very significant resistance, in fact, because it actually runs right the way back to where we started this range. So you can see all the points of interest here. And actually, typically, it's acted more as support, but also acted very aggressively as resistance. So you're at this kind of key level at the moment where you are going to have some sort of a make or break decision. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this box, but this is very clear significance, which is why you ran into it. And from a trading perspective, you know, traders will look to take that short. They will look to maybe scalp and take some of this downside. And we have had a clear attempt at that. You know, you can see the shorts came in pretty aggressively. Where are we? Just here. And of course, that's drove the price action down, but back into this box. So you haven't actually taken out the day's range low, but you have taken out a short-term swing low. You've also failed to put in a swing high and actually failed a swing high. So you're in this kind of no man's land at the moment. I think this is largely because the crypto market is currently waiting for the traditional markets to open. Two scenarios that I'm really watching for here. I have a bullish bias at the moment, but that may change. You know, we've got a couple of things going against us, like the dollar is particularly strong, or is showing a bit of strength. This, of course, is, in my opinion, because we have the 30-day Fed funds futures actually pricing a little bit more interest rate hikes, which, of course, is going to strengthen the dollar. But we've got markets generally up. So gold, silver, the FTSE, Asian markets, the futures market, and really it's going to be very telling to see what kind of an open we get in about 40 plus minutes. And I think largely the crypto market is just going to go with it. So I'm expecting a bit of volatility. If I was to take a punt here, I'd look for the longs. But this is not really where I want to be trading necessarily. Thus far, and what we should probably do, and this is going to be a daily thing, guys, so we're going to be updating this every single day. It's currently the 3rd today. We're going to map out today's time frame, and we're going to look to see. It's kind of too early, in my opinion, to be mapping out today's low. So you could actually, I'd probably take this as today's low, and we're going to get that into the traditional range colors that we're after. So we could look at this as today's low. You know, this is still a very clear short-term 1 hourly uptrend. And let's drop down the time frames and see where we're at. So we're looking for this to be taken, and then you've taken yesterday's range high, and then actually this would be yesterday's range high. We of course had drawn this when we were looking at it from this perspective. We're looking for a taking of the range high, and then this also brings us on the right side of what we've shown you is pretty significant area of support and resistance. This is a pretty significant area, and the price has acted pretty accordingly with it thus far. So we really need to be taking out, let's make this a little bit smaller, this. We need to get to the upside of this, and so far so good. Now if you get a down, if you get downside in regards to the stock market, you're going to look for more downside in the cryptocurrency market. You know, it may do something like this. I'm going to give you my probable scenario for today in just a second. So if the stock market opens down, you may, bearing in mind this isn't the day's low necessarily yet, we should probably get rid of this because, of course, the day hasn't played out yet. We haven't had the 24-hour period play out. Remember, this is a New York time zone. And you are getting clear resistance here, but we may get something like this where you may come down and retest this, or you may put in a slightly higher low and look for something like that. But my probable scenario, as it stands right now, is that we're likely going to see upside. You know, given how the futures market's looking, it looks like we're looking for that upside. This, in my opinion, is kind of what you'd see at a swing low or a swing high. You know, you could flip this up. You know, when you have candle body action, you know, when you come down, you do something like this. You know, that's kind of giving you the precursor that the price is with this shorter. You could almost call it like a right shoulder. That's kind of giving you the precursor that the price may want to move to the upside. So looking at a 15-minute chart, you know, watch this level. You got this nice little almost double bottom here. We also on the daily, which gives us more of a sort of broader bias, had highlighted this price action here. So we put these two arrows here because this essentially is what we're potentially calling, can you see this? A double bottom, and you've got this nice rounded right butt cheek, which is potentially on a daily time frame setting you up for that upside. You've had 3 candles. Could be a bit of a three soldier pattern, and we could look for that upside. I do think that, you know, we spoke about the January effects in our daily cryptocurrency market update, where we really were looking at the fact that typically people will sell stocks in January, the end of December if they're down, and then they'll buy it straight back in January. And this is a tax harvesting thing. And we've seen a bit of that take place this morning. So as it stands right now, you know, really two scenarios we're looking for. We still maintain, just like we had over here, you know, and we were looking for this. We haven't quite been validated yet, although we did take out, you know, if you look at the range that we were looking at yesterday, we did take out this range. We'll get rid of this. In fact, we'll leave this box of significance, because this is going to be a working chart that we're going to work on every day, guys, as we move through. We don't use any mumbo-jumbo, weird lagging indicators or theories that, you know, are very hard to predict the market and don't really predict it. We just use price analysis and we look for some sort of a setup. So I wouldn't take this short, even though you've run into significant resistance. There's hope here in the fact that when you're rejecting off this, it's got a less of an effect here. So you really need to just watch. You've got clear sellers here that will probably be looking to run this back down to the yearly open and back down to this level here. However, if they fail to do so, which I think they are likely to do, remember, guys, it's impossible to predict the markets every single day 100% correctly. This is just to give you some scenarios to look out for and help you sort of navigate. If they fail and you run yesterday's high, look for that upside. And then where are we looking for? In my opinion, target. And we'll put that on. We're going to change that to, what colors shall we use? Remember, this is let's use white. No, I'm joking. Let's use a nice orange, make it a little bit thicker. And then upside. We want upside target, and we're going to put that to the top. This is where we're going to be looking at for upside, in my opinion. And then we potentially are just entering some sort of a range-bound environment. So this is the plan for me. Could you get any longs out of this? Potentially. Where would you long it, though? I'd maybe look... It would be a better long somewhere down here. Remember, the thing is with longing right now is you've got the stock market that's coming in. I'm not calling for anybody to long this. But in terms of, you know, looking for a target on Bitcoin, and we did say if anybody wants any sort of more daily market updates or different coins that you want me to cover, let me know in the description, because I could do TA's, you know, transferable. You know, we could do it on anything. I'm not sure. I would probably put a stop on yesterday's low if I was going to trade this, and I'd maybe just look for that return, which is a 2.4R return. Not the best in the world, but, you know, if you get one of these a day, you're not doing too badly. But I personally am not taking this trade. I'm not currently trading at the moment. I'm more developing my own trading strategy, which I'm going to share with my Patreon members for anybody that's interested. There's a link in the description. But this is how we kind of map out the markets. And this is what we're looking at moving forwards. I'm going to get a thread going on Twitter where I'm just going to, you know, continue to add to it. So I'm looking for upside, still looking for that upside. We were sort of right on yesterday's calls, but sort of not. You know, we are slightly higher than where we left off, but we'll see what today brings. And I think it's all really going to center around what the stock market's doing. Futures market is kind of preempting us. The stock market might do quite well. You know, we had a particularly harsh December. This may all filter through and give us a bit of relief going into January, but we will see. That's all I've got for you in this video, guys. You enjoyed the content, like as always appreciated. So is a comment, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.